Hi, my friends. So today I've been asked by a lot of people lately. I'm eating some peanuts. So just to prove that I'm not a bot and I'm normal and human and I eat food. I've been asked by a lot of people if I could do some longer videos, and one of them specifically that I've been asked a lot about is deconstructing and our children. So I'm going to call this How to Change in Front of Our Kids. Because that's basically what it is. Deconstruction is basically us changing ourselves, transforming in front of our children. So the first thing I would say, number one, is normalize it. Normalize deconstruction. It isn't some kind of a weird, freaky thing that's happening to you. This is totally natural, human, healthy, normal. It should happen just as much as puberty should happen, and it's just as natural. So it's the same as changing physically or whatever. Let's say puberty. You talk openly about it. You don't make it weird, right? You don't make it abnormal. It's just a very natural human process that every human being, unless there are unusual cases, should go through. And that is some kind of puberty, some kind of maturation in the body. And it's the same with deconstruction. That's all it is. It's just a kind of maturation in our spirit. So that's number one, is this is normal. You need to get that in your mind, that this is completely normal. This is completely natural. It's not unusual. And so just normalize it. That's number one. So once you do that, then that's step number one, normalize it. Step number two is then be open about it. Talk about it. Let your kids watch you deconstruct. Let them watch you change. If it's normal, and if this should happen, if this is healthy and it ought to happen, if you want your kids to grow spiritually, let them watch you do it. The best way for anyone to learn is to watch their role model do it, right? So when you're deconstructing, normalize it, and then let them watch you do it and be open about it. Don't try to hide it. Don't try to conceal it. Don't try to pretend it's not happening. Don't gloss it over. Don't put makeup on it, make it look more beautiful than it actually is. Just be honest, be real, and open, and just talk about it, so that even if your kids ask you questions like, Mom, so-and-so said, something about heaven or something about hell or eternal life or whatever, but you seem to blah, 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 just be open and talk about it. One of the best responses I found when my kids ask questions, and sometimes difficult questions, like, Mom and Dad, do you believe in prayer? Or Mom and Dad, do you believe in hell? Or whatever. An excellent response to that is, well, Joshua or Jesse or Casil, what do you think? What do you think about it? Well, I think this, blah, 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 and it starts a conversation. Because you don't want to come across as some kind of guru in their lives that knows everything, and you dispense your wisdom to them, upon request. Instead, you help them to realize that coming to truth and understanding life and becoming wise is a community thing. It's a conversational thing. So be open about it. Talk about it. Mom and Dad, why aren't we going to church today? Tell them why. I don't feel like it. Or they're going to be preaching about, hell. Or, Mom, why do we stop going to that church? Why are we going to that? Well, because they don't love everybody. They don't love gay people. And so, we're going to go to a different church that does, because I have gay friends. Right? And so just be open and talk about it. Don't make it weird. So, okay, number one, normalize it. Number two, be open about it. Number three, let your kids be open about it, right? If it's normal, if it's healthy, let them talk about it. I remember many times in our kids' lives, now our three kids started at a very young age, but they're now 35, 33, and 30. And you know what? They're our best friends. We love each other so much, and we have such a wonderful time together. You know, we're separated by geography right now, but we get on Zoom meetings or FaceTime and as a family, and it's like we've never left. You know, we're all just so tight. One of the highlights of my life was when the five of us went to Costa Rica together a few years ago as a family, more than a few, 2016, I think it was, and had the time of our lives, and for 2 weeks, just hanging out together because we let them be open about where they're at and we didn't judge them for it. You know, they had questions, they had their own struggles, they had their own disagreements. They would buck authority, and you know, in any form, whether it was parental or teachers or ideology or the police or whatever. Yeah, I've got stories. They were trying to find their own way, and we trusted them with their own journeys. We were there for them when they needed us. We would provide insight, advice, and so on as guides walking along with them. But we made a deal with ourselves, Lisa and I did early on when our kids were becoming teenagers and things were getting a little more challenging, was that we wanted to always be in relationship with them and rather than be right all the time. And so it was very important for us to let them discover and figure out how to be their own authentic selves, and that we would be there for them. As a result, they are their own authentic selves. All three of them are very different, very diverse, but they have their own spirituality, they have their own wisdom, they have their own maturity, and they're so thankful to us for being the kind of parents we were, because we let them be open with them about themselves and with their journey. So it's very easy when they would ask difficult questions. Well, what do you think? You know, and we were, because it shows that we respect their opinion and what they're going through. So that's basically what Lisa and I did. I mean, it sounds like all orderly and everything, and I'll have to tell you, raising kids is chaotic at times. It can be beautiful, it can be lovely, it can be ecstatic, it can be, you know, charming, it can be idyllic, you know, but it also can be very challenging and heartbreaking and stretching. And we experienced all those things. So it wasn't orderly at all. It was step by step, day by day, right? There's no rule book, as if your kids are some kind of an automaton or a robot that are going to follow, you know, these strategies just because you read them. But these are basic principles or values that we held to. And that is, questioning your beliefs is normal. We're going to be open about our own struggle. We're going to allow them to be open about their struggle. And that's what made it work for us. It was normalizing our spiritual growth, even though it can be very strange and very scary, and even though they might color outside our lines, and even though they might wander into ideas or spiritual expressions or manifestations that are weird to us or unusual or whatever, we let them find their own way. And eventually they came to their own place of peace. And each one of them right now is thriving. You know, they go through their struggles. I'm not trying to pretend we created this, you know, flawless family. That's because they have their struggles, but I think they have a foundation there of that their struggle is a normal human thing, and that they're okay, and that we're going to love them and support them no matter what. So that's what I wanted to share with you. That's how you change in front of your kids. Easy, right? Have fun.